before coming to this decision. Late the same evening, Prime Minister James Marape issued a statement in acknowledgement of Dr. Tom's decision, saying both had spoke before the now former health minister went to the media to officially inform the public.
Leader of People's Party and Minister for Health, Dr. Lino Tom, on Monday announced his resignation from the Marape Rosso government. Dr. Lino said he is convinced that the path they trod as a government is fraught with significant issues of good governance, foreboding a bleak future for the country. He said unchecked corruption and law and order issues pose existing threats to our democracy. Dr. Lino has also raised concerns that the institutions of states have become desecrated to a point where they no longer serve their constitutional functions, but that of their masters, and the ordinary people have lost total faith in them.
Government derives its legitimacy from public consent. The power that we have, the mandate we have, is given to us by the people. And currently, there seems to be widespread disenchantment on the streets. You don't have to go far to actually have a look. A lot of things in this country are not happening well, so I've decided that because of that, I've sort of felt our government has lost its legitimacy. And being in that cabinet, and extending my time in that cabinet would do me no good, and also my people no good. So I've decided to resign from the cabinet, and I've decided to resign from the Marape Rosso government.
Dr. Lino stressed that the rule of law also needs to be prioritized as it forms the foundation for growth and prosperity in any successful nation. He reiterated that a good rule of law is demonstrated through good law enforcement, good political governance, and an effective legal system where it provides the necessary security for social stability, sustainable development, and economic growth.
Institutions of states have been desecrated to a level where now they sort of no longer do their constitutional functions. They are instruments used by the masters who are in charge. And I've realized that political survival has actually become, the most important thing today, and not the interest of the nation. So at that point, I think I've decided that I should resign from the government, and maybe my resignation is like a protest, open protest, and hopefully Prime Minister Marape takes into consideration. I'm pretty sure there's a couple others. Honorable Brian Kremer himself has resigned yesterday, and hopefully those things should prompt him to actually take an active look at the issues that surround us, because obviously the country is actually going down. There's a general moral and societal decadence being observed today.
Yesterday evening, Prime Minister James Marape issued a public statement expressing gratitude to Dr. Tom for his service to the country and his capacity as a government minister. Freddie Mo, TV1 News.
Members of the opposition yesterday made a resolute and impactful announcement of their strategic policy action plan detailing what the alternate government will deliver to Papua New Guinea as a government. The leaders stated that this plan was meticulously developed over the last 6 months, and after rigorous and careful reviews, they are firmly convinced that the plan presents the precise policy solutions needed to cure the economic illness that has gripped Papua New Guinea.
Members of the opposition on Monday launched its strategic policy action plan. Sepu Katemu, member for Abau and chairman of the investigation team that put the policies together, said the strategic policy action plan is designed to restore the dignity and confidence of our people and the private sector. He said the plan is crafted to completely overhaul our policy, legislative and institutional structures, which is the only viable path forward to set our nation on a new trajectory of development. Sepuka said the country can no longer afford to repeat the same mistakes and expect different outcome.
Collectively, we actually can carve out a better future. And therefore, our opposition's conclusion is the nation needs a completely hard relook at the way we have governed our country and look at where we are compared to the global United Nations yardsticks of human development indexes. We believe that we have not gone too far.
Sepuka said the country needs a complete and uncompromising reset.
And so we as a country and as a people now must collectively make a commitment. And so this framework that we will be releasing today will basically, we believe, the foundations that this group of leaders will have to make a commitment to make sure that this will be the foundations for the country's next 50-year development journey. Yep.
Member for Yelebupangia, Peter ONeal, reiterated that the plan is not a mere declaration, but a solemn commitment, and the alternate government is fully prepared to see it through.
I think the team has done excellent work in addressing, there are about 6 or 7 strategies there that will enable them to address how we can mobilize the funds and all the energy that is required to addressing this devaluation of the kina. We need to stop it. We cannot allow. The government is deliberately allowing IMF to force the value of kina going down. That's the argument that we are putting very strongly, that IMF is not welcome in this country. If it was my decision alone, I'll throw them out tomorrow.
Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
Prime Minister James Marape has labelled former Prime Minister and member for Yelebupangia, Peter ONeal, a serial liar while condemning allegations labelled against him by Peter ONeal regarding a 50 million kina Chinese grant. Marape, in outrightly denying claims made by ONeal of him directing a 50 million kina Chinese grant to provinces and districts, said these were false allegations and challenged ONeal to account for a 70 million kina Chinese grant received during his tenure as Prime Minister. The Prime Minister said the process to secure this funding was done transparently when he attended the Third Belt and Road Forum in Beijing, where he met with the President of the Republic of China. A frustrated Marape said ONeal's misleading allegations will have a negative impact on the nation's leadership and international relations. About 5 million kina worth of properties were lost during the rampage in Maprig on Tuesday, August 6th, says former MP John Simon. Simon, whose four sons are in police custody for their alleged involvement in the rampage, said the 5 million kina properties, including more than 5 vehicles and his coffee factory, were burnt down on that day. He said further retaliations would cause a lot of destruction. Hence, they have laid formal complaints with police for the rule of law to prevail.
Bombs or whatever it is, who wanted to burn all my buildings and properties down, which I lost a coffee set with close to 300 bags of coffee that I paid. I was only helping the people to buy their coffee. I lost the warehouse. I lost my 2 Land Cruisers got smashed up. My brother's twin steer 10 cubic meter truck, twin steer truck, worth 600,000 to 700,000 got bent down. My brother's grader got, plus we lost close to 5 million kina worth of things, but we just said it's okay. We'll allow the law to manage this.
In regional news, a woman is dead. Buildings have been demolished and tens of thousands of Victorians are without power after parts of the state were once again smashed by wild winds. Gusts reached 146 kilometers an hour in some parts, which is equivalent to a Category 2 cyclone. The SC has received about 4,500 calls for help. More than 8,000 homes and buildings were damaged. It was a rare record-breaking event that's left many counting the cost.
Howling through the city, along the coast, and through the suburbs, Victorians were left reeling as the destructive storm swept the state.
We heard like a god-awful snap and we came out and our tree had fallen. We got 2 young kids inside, their bedrooms at the front of the house, so yeah, very lucky.
And then came out and saw my whole roof is out.
It was severe and deadly. A 63-year-old Victorian woman was killed after a tree fell on her cabin at a caravan park in the border town of Moama. Her husband treated for injuries in hospital.
Again, I would urge people, if they are camping or using our local parks, to be very aware of their surroundings.
Vicious surf lashed coastlines. Last night at Mornington Pier, a boat was spotted heavily rocking in the extreme conditions. By morning, it had sunk. The bay's iconic bathing boxes weren't spared either.
It's actually devastating. The whole community is impacted by this being our local beach, and it's been an ongoing issue, and at the moment it's just panic stations.
The wind sent even brick structures tumbling, so ferocious they brought down the facade of this Armidale cafe.
Very disappointed at the moment. We were ready to open this morning for business as normal, but yeah, we've got a bit of a mess to clean up.
This is just one example of how fierce those winds were as they came through the suburbs. Here in Glen Iris, heavy branches have fallen, downing a power pole and crashing onto this car. The SES worked quickly through the growing incident list, 180,000 without power from Portland to Bairnsdale. But it won't be a quick fix for everyone. Some won't have power restored for some time.
Please plan for 72 hours. Be ready for 72 hours in the event that for some reason it does take that long.
This afternoon, a fresh barrage for an already battered city. Luckily, the worst of the wild weather is subsiding, a relief to those with a big clean-up ahead.
There's a lot of work to do.
Rescue crews are continuing to search in challenging conditions for a teenager who was swept off rocks into the sea south of Adelaide. The 17-year-old was on Granite Island near Victoria Harbour with his younger brother when he slipped and disappeared into the water on Sunday.
Anxious wait for a missing son and brother swept off the SA coast.
My brother said, "Take my photo," and I take his photo. He slipped his foot, then he went there. He died. He dipped on the water.
Originally from Pakistan, Mehdi Habibi has been living in Australia for less than a year. His family had headed to Victor Harbour and Granite Island on Father's Day, a picnic taking a tragic turn when a large wave hit the 17-year-old from behind while he was on the rocks.
The 2 siblings were close to the water and then they didn't know, so suddenly I think one of them just swept out to the water.
Then you can see the male obviously in distress in the water, and shortly after he disappears from sight.
On the second day of searching, Mehdi's family and close friends are losing hope of seeing him alive again.
Hoping the rescue team find Mehdi, so his body, so everyone is very sad.
The boy's aunt says his parents had a sleepless night after the search was first called off at sunset on Sunday.
She's very upset. His father, everyone is upset.
Police, along with other emergency services, resuming their efforts at first light.
We're also dealing with approximately 5-metre swells, which are coming from the south. So obviously that's problematic because that's hitting the southern side of the island.
Search and rescue efforts have continued throughout the afternoon here and further along the coastline, but teams are dealing with challenging conditions with gusty winds and choppy waters.
This incident serves as a reminder to the dangers of the ocean and the importance of remaining in safe areas.
Granite Island has reopened to visitors after the incident.
In sports, Women's Rugby League in Papua New Guinea has received an enormous boost ahead of the upcoming Pacific Championships with the appointment of Tony Norris as Orchids coach. The most capped Australian Jeweller's player Norris boasts an outstanding coaching resume and earlier this year guided Queensland to victory in the first Women's Orchid Series after being impressed by the talent on display during a recent visit to PNG that coincides with the start of the inaugural PNG RFL Women's National Competition. Norris will now take charge of the Orchids. PNG RFL CEO Stanley Ondinas says Norris' knowledge of the games is second to none and she will bring a lifetime of experience and excellence to the role. Ondina believes that she is the perfect coach to help develop what is an extremely talented Orchids squad. And that ends the Midday News. Join us for more news and sports at 6 tonight.